So we all probably heard about Ryan Garcia's amazing upset win over Devin Haney. But the thing that seems to be overshadowing this now are the PED allegations. And the PEDs in particular that we're going to talk about today are SARM, also known as ostarine, and Nor-19 androsterone, which is actually a metabolite of a steroid that is well known called DECA. So let's get into it. So I'll be honest, I honestly just wrote this fight off at first. It's just Devin Haney getting a comfortable decision over Ryan Garcia because of the way Ryan Garcia has been acting like the last few months, all the things he's been saying online. I thought he was cooked. I thought he was done with. But it looks like, he's a really talented boxer, and I guess I forgot about that in lieu of all these crazy things he's been doing. But now, beyond all my personal feelings about Ryan Garcia and what he did, let's talk about the PED allegations. So for those of you who don't know, something like ostarine is actually a SARM, a selective androgen receptor modulator. So it has steroid-like effects, but is not technically classified as a steroid. This allowed it to get through a lot of legal loopholes. There was like a time in America, I want to say 5 to 10 years ago, where you could buy SARMs online relatively easily. That seems to be changing with time, but it has steroid-like actions, meaning it will put muscle mass on you. It will help you recover more rapidly from your workouts. It'll probably increase your muscle endurance, maybe even your cardiovascular endurance as a result of taking it. Now, this is not going to be a crazy impact, and some people say ostarine is weak, but remember, when we're talking about things like boxing, 1 or 2% more could be the difference between a win or a loss. These guys are at the peak of their performance. Maybe you add a kg on your bench. No one gives a fuck about the kg on your bench, but if it makes you just punch a little bit harder, that could be the difference between world-class athletes, between one of them winning and one of them losing. 19 norandrosterone. I'm gonna call it androsterone because I do not want to say that long-ass name every time. It's technically not a PED. It's actually a metabolite of nandrolone. Most of you probably don't know the name nandrolone, but you at least know nandrolone decanoate, or DECA. It's an extremely popular PED. It became super popular outside of the medical industry when it came to bodybuilding. A lot of the golden era guys that you love were taking tons of DECA. Look at how bodybuilders looked in the 40s, and look at how they looked in the 70s. DECA was responsible for that. You guys in the comments who go, well, but DECA is not the optimal boxing drug, I really don't want to hear it. So this metabolite of DECA, this means that when you take DECA, it's broken down by your body and it leaves behind this metabolite. And this is the problem. This is how they catch guys. This metabolite, they're not just gonna check you for DECA, because let's say you took DECA a year ago, or actually maybe not a year ago, let's say you took DECA 6 months ago and it's out of your system, it's cleared, the half-life, everything is out of your system. You just wouldn't be caught. But they've devised new tests where they don't just test for the compound itself, they test for the things that the compound breaks down into. But there's a little bit of a wrinkle here. Your body actually naturally produces some degree of nandrolone. This could actually be a case of maybe he produces a lot more 19 norandrosterone than the average person, and they're just picking up on that. Now, I don't know how likely that is, but it is a possibility. So I don't want to just say he's guilty, he took DECA. We don't know. The thing that's really going to let us know is how much of this metabolite is actually in his blood. Boar, I believe, a lot of people have been making the joke about boar meat, but apparently if you have like uncastrated pigs or something, your androsterone levels go up after you ingest it. Now, I know this is a bit of a stretch, but it's something that could happen. Now, ostarine is nothing like androsterone in this case. It is not produced in your body. It is made in a lab, so don't listen to anyone who tells you otherwise. I don't think anyone thinks that. I've never heard this claim, but just putting it out there for those of you who just don't know anything. Now with ostarine, this gets a little bit more complicated because they found some ostarine in his system, right? That means he's guilty. He took ostarine. Yes and no. He might have unknowingly ingested ostarine from contaminated supplements. And I know this is like the most tired excuse ever, but let's explore it a little bit. Yoel Romero, you guys will remember, this amazing MMA fighter who looked ageless, like he looked like a Greek god. He popped for a PED, and his defense, which worked, was that he had tainted supplements that were tainted without his knowing. And the reasoning is something like, let's say a company is mixing up ostarine in a vat. Then that company gets an order for creatine. They take that ostarine out of the vat, don't clean it that well, and then throw the creatine in, mix it up. Someone like Yoel Romero or Ryan Garcia take that creatine, and then down the line they have metabolites for ostarine in their system. This can happen, and Yoel Romero actually won a case and was suing them for a ton of money, like this one company for like a shitload of money. The other argument that I hear people making, which is really tired, is that he has a world-class team, he's a world-class athlete, he wouldn't do something like that. And this is just like the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. Olympic athletes who have probably the best teams around them pop for steroids. How is this any different from Ryan Garcia? Is he like somehow special well beyond Olympic athletes? Does he have a super special team that goes well beyond this? Probably not. People make poor decisions, as we've seen with John Jones, just always getting popped for something. They're humans at the end of the day. Humans make bad decisions, and he could have made a bad decision here. Lastly, not everyone has the best information for steroids. We don't really want to commit a halo fallacy here, where we assume that just because they're good at one thing, they're good at everything. Just not how life works, right? If that were the case, then we would all be living very different and arguably better lives. And it's just simply not the case. So for me, I don't really know where I stand. I tend to be skeptical / cynical about all this. I think that most athletes are taking some sort of performance enhancing drug. Now, whether or not that thing is legal or illegal is the crux of the discussion, right? There's tons of PEDs that you could take, things that will enhance your performance that you could take that are not illegal. I think they're all taking something to get an edge on their competition, because this is a game of percents at this point. So what I'm gonna say is this is gonna hinge upon the amounts of these metabolites that were found in his system, or the amount of the ostarine that was found in his system. That is where I'm gonna hang my hat. But before we get to the end, now a word from our sponsors, Supra. Now a word about our sponsor, Supra.com. Supra offers Oracle price feeds for over 50 different blockchains. Supra has you covered with speed and security. Whether it be liquidation triggers or critical price levels, Supra will have your back. Go to Supra.com/blockworks to find out more. But really, what do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Do you think he did it? Do you think he didn't do it? Do you think someone else did it too? Do you think the church did it to him? Do you think the Pope did it to him? Please let me know in the comments. But I will see you guys in the next video.